Good evening, everyone. Today is going to be our 62nd Sutta discussion on Mondays, and today's topic is going to be very interesting. The topic is going to be how to properly enjoy and share your wealth. So, this word called wealth in Buddhist teachings, wealth has been twofold: material wealth as well as spiritual wealth. So, we're going to be talking about pretty much from the angle of a householder, like exactly like you, from the household point of view. And then at the end, maybe we can just figure out how we can, you know, uh, fit this in with. The wisdom teachings so that it would uh, take any householder to the path of Nibbana. Okay, so the sutta's name is Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta. Paṭhama is first, Aputtaka is sonless. At that time in India, if someone dies without a progeny, without a son or a daughter, uh, it was a bit messed up situation uh, where in which the king is gonna take away all the money and all this stuff. So anyway, this sutta is very famous. Probably people don't know. Many of you don't know by its title, but you may perhaps know the background story and the contents. So I want to share with you today pretty much about how to properly enjoy and share the wealth, because in the sutta itself uh, there's a baron, there's a banker who was sonless and passed away, and his all the wealth was taken away by the king. And then Buddha was teaching the king about how should a layperson, a householder, or a householder spend, enjoy, and share one's wealth. So that's the um, main teaching in the sutta. Since we pretty much working on Pali, especially when we're talking about sutta, we want to let you know that to give kind of like an insight that we are not you know uh, talking out of the Pali teachings. So that's why we want to read the sutta in Pali so that people know that this is authentic and true. Okay, according to that principle, let's take a look. Dutiya Aputtaka Sutta, which is one of the suttas in the Kosala Samyutta, wherein King Kosala was the sort of person who approached the Buddha and then let him know the story about the bank. Let me read. Savatyan. Savatyan means the capital city of state Kosala. Atako Raja Pasenadi Kosalo Diva Divas Yena Bhagava Ten Upasankamitva Bhagavantan Abhivaditva Ekamantan Nisi. Ekamantang Nisinna Ko Rajanang Pasenading Kosalang Bhagava Etadabocha. Okay, so I just stopped before the question, which was asked by the Buddha. At Savatthi, then King Pasenadi of Kosala went up to the Buddha in the middle of the day, bowed and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, so the Buddha said to him this question: Handa kuto nu twang Maharaja, agachasi diva divasati. The meaning, so great king, where are you coming from in the middle of the day? So that the king approached the Buddha in the middle of the day. Unlikely in other events, so he approached the Buddha either in the morning or in the evening, but this was in the middle of the day. So the Buddha asked a question: where are you coming from in the middle of the day? And then the king started saying the story. Idha Bhante Savatyang Setti Gahapati Kalakato Sir, here in Savatthi, a banker, householder, has passed away. Tamahang aputtakan sapateyan rajante puram atiharitva agachan. Since he died childless, I have come after transferring his fortune to the royal compound, royal treasury. So Aputtakang is son, childless. Sapateyang is property, and Rajente Puran means royal compound. Looks like the royal treasury. So now, having transferred his properties, in the event of his demise, and that's how I've been coming on the way, and that's how I, saw you in the middle of the day. Satang Bhante Sata Sahasana Hiranya Seva. Now the king is explaining about how much wealth this particular banker had. Satang Bhante Sata Sahasana Hiranya Seva. Hiranya is gold. Okay? At that time, they didn't have these paper bills, right? They had this wealth from the perspective of materials, right? Like gold, silver, diamond, so on and so forth. There was 8 million in gold. So this banker who passed away had left behind him 8 million in gold, right? So I don't know, how they weighed that. Probably they weighed it, but basically he had left 8 million. So I've been transferring all that gold, 8 million gold, to the royal treasury. Then Kopanavadu rupias. So rupee means silver. I don't know, some of you might be thinking whether this has any connection to rupees in India and Sri Lanka. But in Pali, it says rupee means silver. So Kopanavadu rupia. So king was surprising the Buddha because he left 8 million gold, not to mention the silver. So there must have been more than 8 million of silver. Tassa kopana bhante settissa gahapatissa evarupo bhatta bogu ahusi. Now the kings want to let Buddha know how was his food style, how he ate before he passed away. And yet that banker ate meals of rough gruel with pickles. Rough gruel with pickles. Which is pretty much a minimalist life, right? Minimal type of food. He had a lot of money, but he ate just rough gruel and with pickles. This is so cheap type of food, right? Minimalist. Looks like he's such a minimal. I don't call this is minimalist. It looks like he's so greedy. He's so thrifty for a reason. And then, okay, so Kanajakam Bunjati Bilanga Dutiyan. So Kanajaka means rough gruel, and Bilanga means pickles. Okay, so he ate meals of rough gruel and pickles. So there's no variety of his food style. It's just gruel and pickles. Eva rupo vatta bogu ahosi. Now the king wanna let Buddha know about his dressing style, how he dressed up every day. Sanang dhareti tipakka vasanam. So what does that mean? He wore clothes consisting of 3 pieces of sun hem. It's a pretty low type of wearing, cheap type of wearing. He wore clothes consisting of 3 pieces, just 3 pieces of sun hem. So he had only 3 pieces. Not because he couldn't afford, but because he didn't want to spend money on that. Okay. Yana bhogu ahosi. Then the king wanna let Buddha know about how he traveled. Jajjara rathakena yati pannachattakena dhariyamanena. Uh, yeah, uh, it's pretty low, especially when you talk about a vehicle. He traveled around in a vehicle that was a dilapidated little car holding a leaf as sunshade. So he had no sunshade on top of the not not a particular standard top on the little car. It was just holding a leaf as sunshades, right? It was a dilapidated little car. At a time, he could have afforded a nice, comfortable, uh, luxurious, exotic car. Now, in the same way, we can look at people in today's world, people who can afford, but they don't want to spend on three things, especially the food that they spend on, and then and their clothes, and specifically about their vehicles, right? So this particular millionaire didn't spend uh, didn't spend at least a good amount of money for his food, his for his clothing, and for his vehicle. Now that's all about this particular banker who passed away and whose money was taken away by the king. And the Buddha uh, replies to the king, "Eva metang Maharaja, Eva metang Maharaja." That's so true. Great king. That's so true. Bhuta Pubbang Su Maharaja Setti Gahapati. I think I'm misreading about the second stanza from the second sutta. I had to go back, but yeah, I mean it's all correct as far as his three types of spending on food, clothing, and vehicle. Eva metam Maharaja, Eva metam Maharaja. That's so true, King. That's so true. Asappurisoko Maharaja, ulare bhoge labitva. Neva attanang sukheti pine. The mata pitaro sukheti pine. The puttadarang sukheti pine. The dasa kammakara polise sukheti pine. The mitta mache sukheti pine. The samana brahmanesu buddha vikang dakinang patittapi. Sovapikang sukhavipakang sagga sangatani. Tassate bhoge evan samma aparibunjyamani rajanuva haranti. Chorava haranti. Aggivadahati. Udakangva vahati. Appiyava dayada haranti. Evam Satti Maharaja Bhoga Samma Aparigunjyamana Parikhyam Gachanti. No Pariku. I mean, Buddha says that this is no surprise to me, if someone like this particular bank who passed away, uh, does this kind of stuff. I know there are these kind of unwise people among the lay people. What kind of unwise people and how they behave? And that's what we understand from the Buddha's answer. Buddha says, "That's so true, great king. That's so true. When an unwise person, householder, has acquired exceptional wealth, for some reason, if a layperson becomes rich, they don't make themselves happy and pleased, nor do they make their mother and father, partners and children bond servants." So bond servants could be people who work for them without money, and workers, paid workers and staff, and friends and colleagues happy and pleased. And they don't establish an uplifting religious donation for ascetics and Brahmins, or whatever the kind of religious belief one has to offer, um, charity things that's conducive to heaven, ripens in happiness, and leads to heaven. Because they haven't made proper use of that wealth, rulers or bandits take it, or fire consumes it, or flood sweeps it away, or unloved heirs take it. since that wealth is not properly utilized, it's wasted, not used. Now, the most important thing in this answer given by the Buddha is that how to properly how to properly enjoy or consume and share the wealth. And Buddha says the only way to enjoy and share the wealth is one has to first make oneself happy and pleased with that money. Not only oneself, but also one's mother, father, if you have a partner, partners, if you married spouses, children, whoever the people who work with you, friends, colleagues, not only them, but also the religious ascetics, monks, nuns, monastics. So they have to share, they have to sort of spend that money for these aspects of people, right? That is how someone enjoys and shares the wealth without being blameless. Otherwise, people who haven't spent on these, starting from oneself and the rest of the people, they are blameworthy and they are not blameless. That's what Buddha says. If someone wants to properly use one's wealth, one has to spend, especially starting from oneself. If you don't, there are people who make a lot of money, but they don't treat themselves first. That's pretty disappointing, right? Because if you earn money and you are spending all that money towards other people, you are not eating good, you are not, uh, you know, uh, you are not wearing clothes, good clothes, when you are not, using a kind of a vehicle or transportation, but you are trying to make other people happy. Putting you at a really bad place in your life. That's not that's not appropriate. That's not suitable in the Buddhist teachings. You need to first take care of you, but not too much, but not too less. And your mother, your father, your spouses, your children, friends. I mean, you should know how much money you're gonna spend. Not all that money. We're gonna talk about that. How we're gonna, consume money, especially wealth, in terms of all these people. So, anyways, one has to spend one's wealth towards these people. So, for those who do not spend money and wealth on these individuals, starting from oneself, parents, spouse, children, friends, co-workers, I mean, in the way that it's supposed to be, not too less, not too much. Their money, I mean, I'm talking about those unwise people who don't spend money on these wealth on these people. Their money or whatever the wealth are subject to, rulers, bandits, and some natural disaster like fire, floods. If these things do not occur to them, at least there will be an unloved heir who will be taking over that when that person passes away, right? So that's when Buddha says that wealth, that money is not properly utilized. It's wasted, not used. So one has to utilize properly, not just utilize, properly utilize one's wealth and money. So keep that in mind. Before you die, you have to leave behind this, mentality that I spend money and enjoy the money and share the money uh, properly, and I didn't waste my money and wealth. Before you die, that would be the best perception that you would be able to have. Okay, and then Buddha gives an example, kind of a simile. Sayatapi Maharaja. Before going on to that paragraph, I want to mention, kind of like emphasize a word in the paragraph that I just said. There is a word called Samma Aparibunjyamani, Samma Paribunjyamani. Samma is wholesome, the best way, Paribunjyamani. So one has to use this Samma Paribunjyamani in terms of one's wealth and money. That means you are utilizing properly. So utilizing properly means Samma Paribunjyamani. That means you are spending money from yourself, towards yourself, taking care of yourself, and then other people including finally the religious people. If you are if you are a religious person, if you are a non-religious person, at least you can approach the spiritual people, right? If you don't have if you are an atheist, right? So you could help them, in a way that you can, not too less, not too much. And the Buddha's example is Sayitapi Maharaja Amanusakkani Pokkarani Achodaka Sitodaka Satodaka Setaka Supatitta Ramaniya Tanjanu Nevahariya Napiveya Nanahayaya Na Yata Pachyam Vakare Evam Hitam Maharaja Udakan Samma Aparibunchayamanan Parikya Gacheya no Parigoga. The Buddha explains uh, the particular point of the plight of those people who don't spend wealth money on the right individuals, so that they are not properly utilizing their money, to a lake or a pond where people are not consuming, taking the advantage of, right? This is how he explained that in English. English. Suppose there was a lotus pond in an uninhabited region with clear, Achodaka means clear, Satodaka means sweet, uh, and Sitodaka means cool water, Setaka is clean, Supatita is with smooth banks, Ramani is delightful. But people don't collect it or drink it or bathe in it or use it for any purpose, because there are non-humans, probably um, you know um, it is an uninhabited region. People can go. People are not allowed to go to. Since that water is not properly utilized, it's wasted, not used. Somebody can look into this matter from an environmental perspective, but Buddha is taking this from the, you know, from a point where everything should be used in the proper sense. So if there is a lotus pond, which is an uninhabited region with clear, sweet, cool water, clean, with smooth banks, delightful, but people can go there. People maybe people don't know. They can drink, bathe, and that water is not properly utilized and it's wasted, not used. In the same way, Evameva ko Maharaja Asapuriso Ulari Bhogi Labitva Nevathanan Suketi Pine E Apyava Daya Daharanti Evam Sati Bhoga Samma Aparibunji Mana Parikyangacha, no Parigoga. In the same way, when an unwise person has acquired exceptional wealth, it's wasted, not used. In terms of, or in the sense of his not spending on oneself, parents, spouse, children, uh, friends, colleagues, including religious people or spiritual people. So the opposite is clear. If someone is a wise person, that person is spending wealth money on oneself, first oneself, and then parents, family members, relatives, friends, colleagues, co-workers, also religious, spiritual people. Okay, that's the proper way of enjoying and sharing the money or wealth. I want to make it short. That's why I didn't read that part. It's the same. It's the uh, opposite of the unwise person. At the end of the sutta, there are two verses. Let me read them in Pali, and then I will go into this big topic of economics, or how to properly consume and share money and wealth from a bigger perspective in the Buddhist teachings. Because this is not the only sutta that we know. There are teachings about how to consume wealth and money. Amanusattani udakancha sitan tadapeyamanam parisosameti evan dhanam kapuriso labitva nevatana bunchati no dadati. As cool water in an uninhabited region evaporates when not drunk, so too when an unwise person acquires wealth, money, they neither use it themselves nor give it away. The opposite side, the opposite. Dhiro cha vinyu adigamma bhogi yo bunjati kichakaro cha hoti. So nyati sanghang kichakaro cha hoti. So yo bunjati kichakaro cha hoti. So nyati sanghang nisabho bharitva anindito satumupeti dhana. But when a wise and sensible person gets hold of wealth, they use it and do their duty. I mean, those duties are taking care of oneself and other people, including religious, spiritual people. That person, having supported the family unit, blameless, goes to a heavenly place. So the Pali word called anindito, blameless, is such an interesting word because everyone has to die being blameless, right? So if you don't consume wealth and property in the proper way as it was told by the Buddha in this way, you will be blameworthy. You are not blameless. Okay, so you have to be very careful in spending, taking care of your money, especially enjoying, consuming, and sharing the money and the wealth. Okay, so let me take a look of other couple of the suttas about this topic. In the Buddhist teachings, there are a couple of suttas about happiness and especially, uh, you know, uh, use of money and wealth. First of all, I want to say, Buddha says in Buddha said in one of the suttas called Anana, there are four kinds of happiness. Okay, so the first happiness is Attisukha. Attisukha is one needs to be happy about what one already has. Let's say you have an education, you have acquired wealth, you have. I mean, what you might be at different stages from, you know, different point of view, but uh, you already have something, so you need to be happy with what you have, satisfaction. Then bhoga sukha. Although you have money and wealth, if you don't use those money and wealth, then you don't get this happiness. So you need to feel that when you spend the money and wealth, especially on these people, starting from oneself, you feel that, oh, I'm enjoying. I feel that I'm enjoying, money and wealth. So you are happy. That is second happiness, type of happiness. Third one, anana sukha. Anana sukha is happiness acquired through not happiness acquired through uh, without being, indebted to governments and credit card companies. So in today's world, a lot of people are having huge amount of debt. That could be a problem. Try to reduce your debt because it's sort of like uh, worry, frustration, remorse when you think about, oh, I have to pay off this much money. So the thing is that if you know it is going to be an investment, it's okay, and supposing that you can pay it back. But if you don't know how to pay it back and you are going to depend on, you know, uh, huge amount of debt, I don't think it's a good thing. It's going to be a big problem, right? You should have a plan because we have to look into these stages from a modern perspective too, right? It doesn't mean that you can't apply it for credit, especially from the point of view uh, of this happiness. But the more you don't have a debt, uh, the longer, the more you become happy because you don't have anything that you need to pay back. But for investments, if you have a good plan, it's okay. The fourth type of happiness is anavajja. Anavajja happiness means you will get anavajja happiness when you earn money and wealth through righteous means, righteous ways. There are people who swindle other people, who cheat on other people, and they get money, they make money, and at the end of the day, you might get money, but you're not happy before you're gonna sleep. It will come up in your mind. So it's not good. So whenever you make money, you need to earn money without true righteous ways. Okay. That is Anana Sutta. There are 4 types of happiness, as I said: Atti Sutta, Bodhi Sutta, Anana Sutta, Anavadha Sutta. Okay. Now I'm moving on to another sutta called Vyagrapacha. In the Vyagrapacha Sutta, Buddha talks about how can a layperson uh, become happy. And Buddha talks about 4 things every layman has to do for this life in order to become happy. Also, there are 4 things for the next lives, in case they wanna, in case they can't attain Nibbana or Sotapanna. Okay? Uttana Sampada means every layperson must be diligent. Okay? That is the first thing that will help them to be happy. The second thing is Arakta Sampada. They must be vigilant about protecting what they earn. Third thing that they must do is to find Kalyana Mittas. Kalyana Mittas are the people who are really helpful towards your secular life. And there are two kinds of Kalyana Mittas, wise individual friends. First wise friend is a secular wise friend, as in the Gangodawila Sutta. And the second one is a spiritual wise friend, and this spiritual friend takes you to the eightfold noble path. But in here, basically, a wise friend, right, as given in the Gangodawila Sutta. The fourth thing every layman has to do is Samajivikata. Samajivikata means a balance, in one's uh, expenses, right? Income and expenses, right? There should be a balance, right? At the end of the day, you might be thinking how to break even, but the thing is, like, you should be careful in balancing your, income and expenses. Okay. So, and the 4 things one must do for what every layperson must do for future lives is Saddha, Sila, Chaga, Panya. Trust. They have to increase trust. They have to work on towards developing trust. And then Sila is virtue, and Chaga means charity or generosity. Panya is wisdom. They must develop those 4 alongside with the 4 things that they must do for this life. Okay. So in the Singarama, the Sutta, Buddha talks about one is good to divide one's income into 4 portions. I mean, don't get mistaken, because a lot of people think, okay, I'm making money, I'm getting a salary, but at the end of the month, I can't do this 4-fold of division. It doesn't mean you must divide your money into 4 things. What it means is that you need to get this structure for your income. What does Buddha say? Divide ekena bhoge buncheya, dvihi kammam payochaye, chatuttancha nidhapeya, apadasu bhavisa. Divide your income into 4 portions. Out of the 4, the first portion uh, should be used for oneself. Oneself means basically for the things that we talk about in the sutta that we discussed today. Taking care of oneself, taking care of your mom and dad, spouse, children, that kind of stuff. Dvihi kammam payochai. Out of the 4, now we already talked about 1 portion. 2 portions must be used for investment. I mean, so you are using only 1 portion, but you are using 2 portions for your investment. It could be education, investing in education, investing in business, investing in some other things, but you are so much concerned that you are investing more than you earn, right? That's the thing. Some people, they use more than investment, right? And at the end of the sort of tenure or whatever the commitments, and they won't, end up in good things, right? Chatuttancha nidhapeya apadasu bhavisa. So one another portion is left. So this 1 portion was used, 2 portions were used for investment. The last portion should be used for future. It could be a saving, it could be what do you call nowadays. It's not just putting money in the banks. They talk about hedging, right? Right. Sometimes it's kind of an economic point of view. uh, people talk about, hedging is more important than saving. It's like buying a property would be better than putting money in the bank or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's an economic point of view. So whatever the way you understand this, keeping a portion for your future, other than personal use and investment, you have to find out. You have to explore what is that best way of uh, you know uh, allocating one portion for your future. It could be saving, it could be hedging, it could be uh, you know buying a property, it could be investing money on education, whatever the way you're gonna use for investment. But the last portion, you need to find out the best way to keep. It is mostly for future emergencies, right? You are not trying to look for other people. You have money and you have saved at least. Uh, it's a pretty good thing. I mean, don't take this format in the exact way. What you need to think about is that maybe you might not be able to think about these four ways with your monthly salary, but at least you could think about the structure. Okay, I should not spend more than the investment for my personal use. I'm going to use, but it's not more than investment. And there should be some money that I'm saving for my future emergencies, right? So that structure is the most important thing. And then Buddha talks about in the same Singalovada Sutta, uh, there are 6 places, 6 causes uh, uh, by which anyone is losing one's wealth, money. I mean, keep these 6 channels really, uh, really important, because if you are not paying attention to these 6, you might be doing these 6 and you are going to lose your wealth and money. The first cause of losing money is Sura Merya Majjapama Datta Nam Yoga. That means taking intoxicants. Could be alcohol, it could be overeating, right? Over drinking, so all that. So, which is a pretty bad cause of losing money. So uh, that's a big problem for many people. Not even for the drinkers, but also for anyone, because you are not supposed to spend money on intoxicants, because that's what Buddha says in the Sigalawada. So that's the first bad cause of losing your money and wealth. Second, Vikala Visika Charyanuyogo. I mean, this is regarding the society at that time, squandering in the streets at unseemly hours. So, I mean, which is a pretty good advice in today's world. We are in lockdown in many countries. You are not supposed to go out and just, squander on the street, right? Maybe you are spreading problems, you are giving issues to other people, right? You are maybe risking others' lives, you are fearing other people, right? So Buddha says, do not squander in the streets at unseemly hours. You might get caught up. That's also loss of wealth. I don't know, I mean, one of the reasons why it was said in here, maybe people might be carrying money and the stuff at that time. They didn't have banks to save money, so people might, bandits and thieves might attack too. Maybe the law enforcement will catch this person too. It's pretty risky to go out at unseemly hours at night. Second cause. The third cause is samajja vicharana, frequenting uh, entertainment. There are people who always want to go enjoy excessively in places like where people want to socialize. It's also a cause of losing wealth and money. You never know that you can control, balance your that kind of habit, so you might end up in losing a lot of money. We have a lot of practical examples in many countries where people just go to socialize, but they end up in being super broke. That's the third cause of losing money or wealth. Fourth one, Jutappama Datthan Yogu. Gambling. Gambling is a big problem. You never know, I mean, how much you're going to lose. There will be different arguments too, but gambling is not, endorsed, approved by the Buddha. So that's one of the ways one loses wealth and money. The fourth, uh, the fourth bad cause that one loses money and wealth is association with the unwise friends. So unwise friends are really bad because they really lead us to, you know, lose our money because they are taking us to bad places. They are, influencing us to spend money on trivial stuff. So be with the wise people, right? Otherwise, it's going to be one of the causes of losing wealth. The last cause of losing wealth is alasana yoga, being lazy, which is a pretty bad thing. When you are lazy, you will do nothing. You might think it's too early, it's too hot, it's too chilly, it's too cold, so on and so forth. I mean, if you want to do something, you got to do it, whether it is in the morning, afternoon, evening, hot, cold, doesn't matter. Otherwise, you are into bad things. You are into unnecessary problems. So there are 6 ways where people lose their money: getting addicted to intoxicants, squandering in the streets and unseemly hours, frequenting in entertainments, gambling, association with unwise friends, and idleness or laziness. I mean, I wanna share those things too because they are really important for you. I mean, you don't want to lose your money, right? Well, which is really hard earned. Then I'm gonna take another sutta, go over this sutta like for a nice, uh, description about consuming your money and wealth. The sutta's name is Kula Sutta. In the Kula Sutta, Buddha says there are 4 things you have to be very careful in uh, doing a business, especially when you are an entrepreneur, you are a business person. The first thing is Nattang Nagavisan, for failing to seek what has been lost, right? So you need to be careful in keeping an eye on what's been lost. Jinnanna Patsankara, failing to repair what's decaying. Be careful. Even at homes, even if you're not a business person, you got to take a look what is being lost at home and what is decaying. Maybe you need to, repair it, right? The third one is aparimita pana bhojana, excessiveness of eating and drinking. This is a problem not in the business, but also to your house activities too. Dussilang itting wa purisang wa adipache kapin. Putting unreliable workers on responsible position. If you're a business person, you got to find out a person who is virtuous, who is a good person on these positions. Okay, the last sutta I'm going to use to talk about how to take care of how to consume your money and wealth is Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta. This is the most important sutta where Buddha talks about how to properly utilize wealth and money in a big picture, right? So this has a full view of that spending. You can remember the sutta that we discussed today in the Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta. Buddha only talks about everybody has to use the money to oneself, parents, friends, spouse, children, including religious, spiritual people. But this sutta says so, that teaching with a couple other teachings by giving a fuller picture. So the Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta says one has to utilize one's wealth and money for 4 aspects. Number 1 is the same description that we see in the Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta. Taking care of oneself, utilizing the money and wealth towards oneself, parents, and so on and so forth. Second, one has to make sure that one's money and wealth they are free from fire, water, king, and robbers, thieves. One has to find out whether one's properties and wealth and money they are safe. Probably you do things. For example, I would say you are paying tax so that you are not under investigation. You buying a property where there is a uh, you know crime-free neighborhood. You I mean, your house is pretty safe. Uh, you are not trying to buy a property, or you are not trying to stay in a place where there are a lot of hazards, natural hazards, so on and so forth. So you have to understand how to make yourself and your properties and things secure, especially from the disaster, misfortunes. That's number two, how you utilize your properties and wealth properly. Third is one has to fulfill 5 offerings towards 5 types of people. Who are they? We call them Bali, Panch Bali, Nyati Bali, Atiti Bali, Pubapeta Bali, Raj Bali, Devata Bali. Nyati Bali is one has to take care of one's relatives. Atiti Bali means one has to take care of guests who come to one's house. Pubapeta Bali means one has to give merits to their departed relatives, people, passed away in the name of them. Rajabali means one has to uh, pay tax to the government. Don't evade from tax. Sorry, you must pay Buddha said. And Devata Bali is offering to the deities. So one has to do these 5 offerings. This is the third one. The fourth one is one needs to do charity to recluses and brahmins, monks, nuns, monastics. So now there are 4 aspects one has to think about in spending and sharing. Uh, Better than the sutta that we talked about today. I mean, the sutta was just a background story, but in the Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta, Buddha talks about 4 main aspects of spending and sharing money. Mother, father, including oneself, and then one has to secure one's wealth and property from the misfortunes. And third one is one has to offer to 5 individuals, and then one has to offer towards the religious, spiritual people. Finally, I wanna share with you this important message. So, if one's wealth not properly spent, I mean, when I say properly spent means if the wealth and money is not spent on these 4 aspects, then what we have to say from the Buddhist teachings is that that particular money fails to win merits and unfittingly used and has failed to seize its opportunity. So one loses one's opportunity to bring that money and wealth into the proper place, into the victory. So one has to properly utilize money and wealth for these 4 aspects. Not only that, there's a big topic in the Buddhist teachings when you talk about this topic called abuse of money. How can one abuse money? If you are hoarding money like that banker who passed away, who are not spending, sharing, that means you are abusing. Also, if you are spending too much money and wealth for cheap, sensual, satisfactory stuff, let's say you are spending a lot of money for cheap, sensual things, right? That's also an abuse in the Buddhist teaching. So, on one side, hoarding, that means you are excessively hoarding money and wealth, not consuming and sharing. Second is you are spending all that money for cheap sensual satisfaction. Also, if you are proud, snobbish with money you have, let's say you are very hoardy about whatever the money you have, that's also an abuse of money and wealth. So don't be into those, abuse points. Don't hoard. Do not hoard. Do not spend money on cheap sensual satisfaction stuff. Do not be proud and snobbish with your money. We call it dana tatu. Okay, so that's what I want to share with you today. So basically, in the Paṭhamaaputtaka Sutta, what we learn is that one needs to properly utilize one's wealth and money, especially for four kind of things, and you learn all that. So if you don't properly utilize your money and wealth according to what these suttas talk about, then you are abusing your money. At the same time, you are not properly utilizing your money and wealth, and you will be blameworthy according to Buddhist teachings. You need to be blameless when you die, when you leave behind your money, not like the banker who left all that money for the government. Okay, so it's time for it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions, so please post your questions under the chat on Facebook and YouTube. Let me see. Yeah, earn righteously, spend wise. Yeah, there are a lot of temptations, huh? Keep that in mind. Temptations are the bad, motivation. So you got to be very careful with temptations. Any questions? Thank you. See other questions. Yeah, and how do we connect this hoarding, abuse, or whatever the things with the kusala perspective? We know in the Buddhist teachings, yeah, a quarter of earning for personal use, a quarter for saving, for investment. Yeah, that's what I've been talking. Uh, you know, we also need to bring this, you know, uh, this whole teaching of spending wise and sharing with the kusala perspective. Because if you are hoarding, if you are spending money on trivial stuff, then what happens is that you are developing greed. So miserliness and greed, they are impediments. They are problems. They are really defilements towards your spiritual journey, especially when you want to keep practicing your skillful activities. So you've got to be very careful when we do things, especially when we properly utilize money and wealth. We also need to think about how we can take this practice of spending wise, earning wise, consuming and consuming properly, consuming all that thing into a kusala perspective too. That's how we're gonna achieve the Eightfold Noble Path. Looks like there are no more questions, so we're gonna wrap this up. May all the good karmas we've been collecting so far be shared by all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyati. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyati. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyati. Let's share all the good karmas with the deities who protect and bless all of us. May the deities be happy and peaceful. May they bless all of us for good health and long life and all the good things. May they also attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi samvatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu. Sabbe satta anumodantu. Sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatha Chubumata Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumuditva Chiran Rakang Tudu Kasasanang Chiran Rakang Tudesanang Chiran Rakang Tumang Paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating so far help all of us to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to be blessing you couple more stanzas. Please receive blessings. Abhivadana Silis Nichang Vadha Pachayino Chataru Dhamma Vadhanti Ayuvanu Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sangha Sampatti Mevache Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminati Samijjatu. Sadhu. One more housekeeping announcement, because we will be conducting Buddhist discussion, Sadhama Dhamma Pariyasana discussion with Professor Tilakarivasan on Wednesday. And this second discussion, we'll be talking how does karma really work, which is a pretty interesting topic. So this discussion is going to be on Wednesday from Ottawa time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. From Malaysia time, a lot of people from Malaysia, I know they're watching. Their time is going to be 9 p.m. To 10 p.m. And from Thailand time, Bangkok, because the professor is joining from Songkhla, Thailand, and their time is going to be 8 p.m. To 9 p.m. this Wednesday. Stay tuned. Thank you. Have a good night. Take care. Stay safe. Secure.